statement that says justice will come. He says he congratulated the president and U.S. Armed Forces, indicating his great and deep satisfaction with the outcome of this tonight. For those just joining us, Osama bin Laden has been killed by order of President Obama in Pakistan. As a result of a brief firefight, his body was retrieved on the battlefield. The president noted all those who lost loved ones in the 9/11 attacks in addressing the nation a few minutes ago. Richard Engel is our chief foreign correspondent. Richard, let's continue a point you made right before the president's remarks. You correctly said Americans are about to learn a lot more about something called JSOC, the Joint Special Operations Command. The division of the U.S. military, almost unto itself, draws from all the other divisions, gets all the secret, top secret, and experimental hardware, things, elements like U.S. Navy SEAL teams, Army Rangers, and the like.
We're going to hear a lot more about JSOC in the coming days. Over the last decade, JSOC has really come into its own as a division of the United States military. Always we know about the Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines. We all know the song. JSOC over the last decade, during this period of the global war on terrorism, has become a force unto its own. And the only way that Osama bin Laden would have been captured in close quarters, or killed, as it turns out to be the case, in close quarters, was if American Special Operations Forces were on the ground fighting in, we're talking maybe 50, 100 yards proximity, and that is the only kind of operation that could have been carried out by somebody like JSOC. When I was listening to that speech, I heard one statement by President Obama. He said, when America sets its mind to something, it can do whatever it wants to do. And that was something that across the Middle East, across the Arab world, across the globe, in fact, people had started to doubt. The United States launched a war against Osama bin Laden after 9/11, but it hadn't been able to accomplish this. And we had sacrificed an incredible amount. We had security at airports. We had wars in Iraq, in Afghanistan that cost $1 trillion or more. Yet people around the world said, why can't the United States catch this one single man? And now, after all of this effort, the United States proved that it can do that. And I think that's going to be an incredible boost, not only for the U.S. military and the morale of the soldiers, but the United States' prestige around the world. And it goes back to that force, JSOC. And I think over the next few days, next few weeks, there are going to be many articles describing just exactly the kind of effort that this Special Operations Command, an unacknowledged military command of the U.S. military, actually put forward.
And we should acknowledge the late retired four-star General Wayne Downing, who was in Baghdad with both you and me. Richard is considered the modern-day father of JSOC and did not live long enough to see this achievement by his men and women tonight. Roger Cressy is a veteran of the National Security Staff in the White House of President George W. Bush. He's with us from Washington tonight. Roger, your former boss, of course, would very much have liked to have been the one to make this announcement during his 2 terms in office. 2 wars were launched in the name of 9/11. People will always debate over the Iraq War being an elective war after that attack, but of course the first CIA boots were on the ground in Afghanistan. Roger, the question for you, knowing the apparatus of national security, we already go through things like airport security because of Osama bin Laden. How will people notice anything different as Monday dawns across this country?
Well, Brian, first I go back to the morning of 9/11. I was there in the White House, in the Situation Room, watching as our world changed and thinking, how long would it take before we finally killed bin Laden? I thought it was going to be a matter of days, maybe a matter of weeks. It took us 10 years. And this is a moment of triumph. This is a moment of celebration for us. But as we said, the threat is not going to go away. I think for most Americans, they're going to see a heightened level of security, particularly in places like New York. Department of Homeland Security is going to push out a series of advisories and alerts. Federal, state, and local authorities will take whatever actionable intelligence they have and work on that, but I do not see an imminent specific threat that we'll see here inside the United States. You may see higher security and